picks and bans. We're going to find out exactly what both teams want to bring to the table, what special strategies they have, and for that, it's all eyes on Gigabyte Marines. But for now, it's just the bans, Ezreal, Jarvan, and Kalista taking off the board.
Kalista being banned here by the Gigabyte Marines, that was one of the biggest picks for No Way in the dominating their entire region. The other big picks for these guys, if you haven't been tracking them, Syndra and Kassadin are big for Optimus. He's played a ton of those, and of course Levi, the star. You remember his Lee Sin, but also the Jarvan and Elise. Big early game playmaking.
Yeah, mid lane, one of those shared champion pools that we'll have to be looking towards as well. But the Kalista ban, as you mentioned, good respect from the Gigabyte Marines, good awareness of what the meta is at World so far.
And interesting that Fnatic are the ones who take Xayah off the board, maybe hoping to be the sole owners of that Tristana power pick.
Yeah, Reckless really has been huge for Fnatic. The DPS numbers just increasing for him over the split. He's even mentoring the new players on the team and taking a bigger hand in leadership. And they're going to grab him a first pick Varus here, it looks like.
And interestingly, with just the Janna ban, Lulu is still going to be up and available if they choose to prioritize that. It makes a lot of sense, and there you go, 2 champions straight away.
Gigabyte Marines with the Galio as well as the Lulu, a lot of protection, yet another Ardent wielder coming into the meta.
It's really good to have more tools for the Gigabyte Marines on their side with, very large areas that they can traverse. Galio opens up a lot of playmaking. They like to kind of break the meta. They like to, shake things up much quicker. We could even, preface they had some lane swaps. Those could be possibilities early on. So a lot of stuff could get crazy early on with that mobility.
And this first pick phase is going so quickly. Karma and Ryze rounded out for Fnatic. Ryze coming in, a huge comfort pick for Caps, something that's been getting more and more popular. But with Fnatic putting priority on the Varus, it's the Tristana that goes over to Gigabyte Marines.
Yeah, Ryze, great champion. When you're up against a tank in the middle lane as well, the Abyssal Mask build that you can go for, not knowing who the jungler is okay in situations like that. So Ryze has cropped up to be a pretty big deal, you'd have to imagine. And I expect to see that continue through Worlds. The Tristana, honestly, they've got a Lulu, they have a Galio, you're expecting something like that to be seen.
Definitely a lot of expected stuff coming out so far, but guys, what we have not seen yet are jungle pickups, so I'm still extremely curious because more jungle bans are coming through. Jarvan was already one of the big ones we kind of expected. Sejuani, now the tanks are really getting filtered out. Rek'Sai as well. So we're definitely going to see if Levi does have, a counter pick in the jungle. They might even save that one for much later.
Last game we talked about Khan versus the meta, but what about Levi versus the meta? What's he going to bring out? And what's Brox going to bring out? Because Gragas, the ultimate comfort pick for Broxa right now, taken off the board.
Yeah, and actually for Levi, while we're talking about the jungle role, for him as a pick, I'm expecting something like the Kha'Zix or Elise, just because that early game pressure is one of the big things you might see from him. With a Galio to protect him as well, Kha'Zix does make a decent amount of sense.
And that's one of the things. We talked a little bit about Archie in the top lane now. This is a guy who's played 4 different roles competitively over his extremely long career. Yeah, just 3 in one entire split. But he...
Oh, that.
He's
okay.
There you go. You're going to throw your jungle predictions under the bus. But Archie, though, he's a guy that we talked about, and, he could lose lane, and he probably is kind of expecting to lose lane and not really care about that and trying to make more plays around the map and skirmish more, so he might try and combine with a Nocturne here. And this Galio could be a top lane Galio, even though nowadays we really do assume that it's mid, as that's probably the better role for it, and you get a lot more leeway out of that early on. But here we go. Now we can focus on the Nocturne.
Ooh, all right. And at least to balance it out, Broxa committing himself to an early game play style, not always his strength, and going up against a legend like Levi has to be nerve-wracking. But so as debating between tanks right now, what does he want to bring to the table?
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Maokai here, but if I'm Gigabyte Marines looking at that, Cho'Gath is still a champion that we could lock in for ourselves. If we want to tank in the top lane still, the Galio can flex between them, and someone that does damage as an extra tank on top of that. It's always a possibility, but I'm still aligned with you saying that perhaps the Galio is going top.
And this kind of theme of mobility that we've been talking about for Gigabyte Marines, Nocturne has a very long gap closer with the ultimate, and he also can create chaos. This is something that they would like to do with these skirmishes. You turn off the lights, you can maybe separate people, get a little bit more panic coming from the enemies that don't quite know where all of the
it's called paranoia, Cody.
Exactly.
Got to be ready for it. And the Kassadin now coming in as well. We talked about this being a comfort pick for Optimus. So when you look at what Gigabyte Marines are bringing to the table, it feels like they got everything they wanted stylistically. But on the other side for Fnatic, what are they bringing? How are they fighting back?
They're bringing a very solid lineup here. It seems much more standard, right? You have front-to-back team fighting you can rely on. You have a powerful early game jungler that can take advantage of a Nocturne earlier on. We're talking about the ultimate already, but you got to get to level 6 to be able to utilize that effectively. So Fnatic seems so much more standard, and this does look like it could be a more comfortable, setup heading into the game, which is probably good versus the Marines, where you want to have as much comfort as possible.
And I just need to point out here while we're still talking, I've been slowly just keeping my eyes in the corner of the Gigabyte Marine support and the summoner spells that he has gone for in the hopes that he would change them. However, it looks like he hasn't changed them, so that's a heal and ignite Lulu in the bottom lane, guys.
Neven is a top laner. He's looking to bring the same level of aggression down at the bottom.
He's got Thunderlord.
And this is the guy who played carries. Let's be real. This guy was not a son of the tank top lane meta. This man is about the carries. Looks like he wants to carry bot lane here.
All right, I'm just excited now. They delivered, right? We had these high expectations of surprise tactics from the Gigabyte Marines. Now they have the Galio in the top lane, less common role for him, Nocturne coming out of the jungle, and now to top it all off, as you said, the heal ignite Lulu for bottom lane. Tristana's a good champion for all-inning and kind of going for those plays, so Fnatic will have to keep that in mind, because when they did stumble, against YG a bit in the play-ins, some of those deaths from Reckless were from some unforced errors and not necessarily, checking all the boxes in the bottom lane and having enough caution down there.
See what they can bring, how they can adapt. Fnatic coming into the blue side, Gigabyte Marines on the red as we get into our 4th game of Worlds 2017 group stages. I think the spiciest pick ban so far, we can safely say.
And of course, all the questions still remain to be answered. We expected this, honestly, from the Gigabyte Marines. As abstract as it is, we didn't know which direction they would go, but now we have to look at what are they executing with this. What does the Nocturne provide? Why would a Lulu go for heal and ignite instead of having the flash? A lot of that, to me, screams bottom pressure, or wherever bottom is where the pressure is.
The other thing it screams to me, kind of jungler instincts kick in. Whenever you see a champion without flash, you would want to gank that lane. So as much as, ignite and heal for bottom lane, that's cool. They can try and focus bottom and, win some skirmishes. That's actually also a vulnerability as well that you have to account for. So, maybe Broxa here on Elise is a better early game jungle champion than Levi has, with this Nocturne. He could just focus on bottom side.
Yeah, definitely the case. Broxa may go down there, and the other people that might also be going down there, Kobe, is the 4 teleports that are running around. Top lane as expected. Cap's choosing to have it instead of a healer and exhaust because he knows that a lot of pressure will be going towards these other lanes, especially with a champion like Galio.
And of course, there is no cleanse in the mid lane for Kassadin. So often something picked against the Elise. Maybe Broxa goes bottom lane for that no flash Lulu, but maybe Broxa can continue to impact mid in the same way he did against Hong Kong.
And here we go. Super powerful leash there for the Nocturne.
But who leashed Kobe?
They're trying to get him off the table. And lane swaps, we did say it in Champ Select as a possibility. Here we go. Gigabyte Marine's going to do this again. Bring it back.
Brought it back in MSI. It's always been a controversial strategy, but they have made it work a couple of times. You can't doubt him 100%. Soaz already struggling. You can see.
It's another way of also getting around, we have a Lulu with no flash that would probably be targeted by the enemy Elise. Now we're going to lane swap. That's not going to take into account a lot of Elise's strengths there in the early game and kind of dissuade them from going for that.
And now we're looking at a duo jungle, top laner and jungler working together to bring it back down to the bottom side of the map.
This is kicking it old school in a way, right? Knowing the Galio can't lane successfully, so they jungle together as you would expect. A big thing that we may see coming out of the Tristana and the Lulu is, okay, the level 1's a bit weak, level 2's a big power spike, so at any moment they could group up, they could go back to the bottom lane. But speaking of grouping up and going to the bottom lane, it's a level 4 Levi.
Yeah, every little bit of experience they squeezed out of the jungle there. Every single last hit did go over to Levi, and Archie here finally getting one in lane. But Fnatic still focusing on that bottom side. Broxa's here, Caps is on the way. Even though there are wards, it's going to be a party.
Oh, Levi, Archie holding on, TP coming in, Coon going to go wide. Brox is still pushing forward. Coming out yet, first blood dropping for Fnatic, and now pulling back. Gigabyte Marines biting off more than they can chew.
They still have Elise here to continue the dive. Caps is actually going to go for it. Jezza doesn't
still
go down.
alive, waiting on the roof, but there's a TP coming in behind him.
Oh no.
Are they actually going to be able to grab? Caps needs to retreat. He's completely out of mana. Soaz running. Archie trying to taunt up. No one going to walk in range. They're trying to trade the aggro. It's an absolute mess here on the bottom side.
Remember that this mess is all due to 2 members topside for Gigabyte Marines trying to take down the top turret as well. During this chase through the secondary turrets here, it's so early in the game though, you have to remember there's still reductions to champion damage. We rarely ever get to even bring this up because people are not on towers that much, but Tristana and Lulu trying to work their way through it.
And if you want a duo to be pushing a top lane out of turret, even if it does get damage reduction, it's a Tristana and a Lulu, frankly. They are just so good at it. The wave clear in particular is where they excel. So they will spend most of their time hitting that structure as we get to watch one of the more awkward level 1 dives.
All right, so they try to target the level 1 Galio, which is a good choice, but Broxa does miss the cocoon there to start it all off. Then he doesn't actually have the tower aggro, so a little bit of awkward juggling there by Fnatic, and Jesus ends up having to flash forward there to try and not die to the turrets. Then the teleport here does come in as well to try and delay them and buy some more time for that pushing up top.
And let's be clear, that's a level 1 Maokai. He only has sapling.
Well, it's not a level 1 champion, and it's not a Maokai. Oh, they did it!
It is!
On the other side!
Oh no, Soaz! That's the ignite! Now we know why he takes it. No way he's gonna grab the kill. Broxy comes over the wall, Cocoon connects. Fnatic fire back.
I thought you were still talking about the one on bottom side with Archie teleporting in, but top side, Soaz goes down, and there's the extra goal going over.
Soaz, I'm pretty sure he just thought he had at least a bit closer than where she was, and he was not level 1. He ticks over to 2, but he's already dead. Remember, that's a heal ignite. You're walking towards the Lulu. She doesn't need to flash in that situation at all.
Just pushing forward, just Punch comes in. Paranoia! 5 minutes into the game!
He is 2 levels higher than anyone else on his team right now. Talk about power leveling there for Levi. Is able to get it off, but Caps wants to answer again. I don't know if they can push the minion wave. Minion has to wait for it.
Trying to make his way out. Taunt comes out, but Reckless is still free hitting. Soaz comes in, finally level 2. That's enough. Caps gets a kill for himself.
Welcome to World.
He's gonna grab another one. He might be able to take down Reckless too. He's pushing forward. That's the double for the Nocturne.
And Fnatic are embracing the style a little bit here as continued roams from Caps do get them some kills, but Levi doesn't let them get out hands clean.
Not quite animal style, it's a bit more carefree than that, but so calculated from both of these teams. The level 6 strategy from the Nocturne, but the immediate reactions from Fnatic, they are keeping themselves as close as they can in this game. Caps is huge.
Yeah, but so is the Nocturne. We talked about unpredictable strategies. Gigabyte Marines are delivering thus far.
And one of the things about Nocturne that people always criticize when you think of bringing him up to competitive play is that's a very binary champion, right? You are all in, you're just this death missile, and you try and go forward and kill your target. If this is the one that you're power leveling, and this is the one you're getting so far ahead, then you're definitely going to be able to kill your target. And early on in the game, you don't really have to worry about people, being separated like that.
Mid lane. Cap's gonna get locked up. Optimus level 6 means he can chase down for free, but might not even need to. Rip walk forward, trying to find it. Flash in the auto will shut it down.
And brilliant tanking from Archie as well to ensure the kill is secure. Caps dies. That was a 3-0 member, so it's even a shutdown for the Gigabyte Marine.
Remember, this is why we kept highlighting mobility in Champion Select for this team. And remember, Optimus, the Kassadin, one of the biggest picks for him, one of his 2 most picked champions this entire year, and now he's the one getting kills. This is more scary for the late game, because Nocturne is one thing, but if the Kassadin starts to get rolling as well, then Fnatic are going to have more problems on their hands.
Pressure now on Fnatic to turn this back in their favor. We can see the gold lead coming in for Gigabyte Marines. Only 7 minutes in, and they've got 1.5K in their favor. And they have to respect the potential here for this Nocturne to come out of anywhere.
Oh no, that's 3 levels. He's lucky. Okay, we're waiting for Nocturne's ultimate, so we have to take a second to appreciate the fact that he's level 7, still the highest on the Rift. The reason he got 7 was because of the assistance from Galio so early, and now he's power leveled his entire farm, his entire jungle through 2 waves to get that experience level to 6. We have to just quickly appreciate that fact before he gets his ultimate up again. I've no doubt we'll look for a target.
Now Archie doing what he can to hold on. It appears the pace of the game has slowed down, maybe until that Nocturne all comes back, but still the pressure mounts.
Well, they are chunking Archie down, and Broxa's on the bottom half of the map, but he doesn't seem to be looking for a dive. Even though Archie is defensively warding here, focus seems to be mid.
Locking him up. That's going to be in trouble. Lulu going to be locked up. Paranoia comes in. Levi moving forward immediately. Caps just gets deleted. Soaz doing what he can to fight back. Going to get knocked back in the end by the Buster shot. Levi tanking blows. Can't afford to take that tower shot, but maybe he'll make it out. Goodbye, baby. Kitty Cat's bringing it home.
Gets in, attack, and he's able to get the kill there. Double double buffs there for Soaz now. They were split. They went 2 different directions with 2 towers shooting them. No Way and Levi do split up, and they're cut down.
The biggest difference there, of course, is that Soaz is able to come towards the middle lane. He doesn't want any piece of 1v1ing Optimus in the side lane. Optimus with a teleport chooses not to use it. Big mistakes as well from Nevin, tanking for far too long.
Important once again, we talked about the shutdown onto Cavs, but now a shutdown onto Levi as well. Crucial for Fnatic to come back with that tower. They've just about evened up the gold, and coming into 10 minutes, there's already 12 kills.
And we finally have a level 6 for the Galio, so the ultimate will be available for Archie now to join halfway across the map almost, and really get every player now involved in every single skirmish.
Of course, we just saw the level 6 from Soaz on top of that. He's not going to have an ultimate, but Archie, big trouble.
Move forward, the heal for movement speed. They're just chasing him down. The minion wave going to block any potential cocoons. He leaps right back into the thick of it. Archie is a man without fear, because here comes the Kassadin. But was it the right call? Looks like it will just be the disengage. Caps, though, man on a mission. In comes Reckless. That's the CC. Takes down Archie.
There's a reason that we evolved to have fear, though. It can be safe to have fear. All right, he ends up going back in, and they do give up a kill, but whenever everyone's collapsing like this, there's still a pushing Tristana. No Way's gonna get the tower in mid lane. Let me remind you that entire play started by Jez's a level 5 Karma, flashing and healing over the wall.
Here comes the teleport.
Oh, Dragon is going to get secured by Fnatic. They're backing off in the pit. See if the CC wants to come in. All 4 members going to make it out safely. Nice escape.
Really good, clean play from Fnatic. Of course, it was a trade that wasn't ideal given the mid lane structure went down. Nevin, the real MVP, for having the polymorph onto Rise in that situation. And Levi, I have to mention, as they were fighting, just casually doing Gromp next to them. He knew the goal wasn't to fight at all.
And the most interesting thing here, when we talked about this matchup before the cast, John, we talked about Reckless. Maybe he'll find an edge. Reckless is nowhere to be seen. It's all about Jesus and Broxa everywhere on the map.
All right, they flash over the wall. They heal to get in range, and then Archie actually turns around on them, communicating with Optimus there to try and burst down Broxa. They actually get the repel out early, but there's Reckless on your screen, flashing forward and grabbing the kill.
And then, of course, the interrupt is going to secure them a tower. Levi gets his Gromp as well. God forbid he doesn't get that one. The Gigabyte Marines are keeping in this very well.
And so much just goes out the window. We talk about lane matchups. If no one goes to the lane you expect them to, not a lot is going to work out as expected. And Fnatic have to keep matching this breakneck pace, Gigabyte Marines.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're going to turn the game into this type of style, you kind of remove some of those weaknesses that we talked about where in lane you would expect to be down CS in these like standard matchups, right? They're kind of taking that equation out of this game. And if you remove the 1 extra turret, I mean, this game is basically tied here. So Gigabyte Marines, they do have this extra gold lead right now with the extra turret that they have down. And you have the added room that you can try and create plays on. But Fnatic are actually very close in this.
And whilst it's only 1,000 gold, there is a notable item difference between 80 carries right now. And that is something that you'd say is substantial, can result in a play on the map if they're able to use it. Unfortunately, not this time. No Drake to be seen either. I might want to put them on the other side of the map.
This is also already the most kills in a game at Worlds, and we're only 12 minutes in.
At the pace we're going, I'm ready for 40. Kobe, I'm ready for an absolute bloodbath, and so as should be too, because Neven and No Way are here, and they're ready for a fight. Now we're going to finally back off on the bottom side. We turn our attention back to the mid lane. 4 members strong from Fnatic.
Yeah.
Optimus debating what to do here, but looks like Soaz is going to be
Here they
pressing
go.
out. They need to make a play in the mid lane as Soaz is doomed to fall here. Tries to twist his advance back. A little bit of healing. I don't think he's going to be able to save his way out of that one. No Way on a killing spree.
RNG's just the real MVP. Gives the crit for No Way as he's about to try and escape under the structure. The back and forth, the ebb and flow of fighting whenever Fnatic are visible.
All right, I want to try and get out in front of a play before all these things start breaking out now. And let's talk about ultimates that are available. Nocturne plus Galio. Both of them, it is a level 9 jungle and a level 7 Galio. Levels may be switched here, but that is a huge combo, especially with the possibility of Kassadin chasing people down. Now Gigabyte Marines, with all the outer turrets down and all this extra territory to work with, they can turn this into much bigger and more coordinated fights than just the small skirmishes.
Optimus pushing in, not going to give away that Rip Tail for free. Looking to chase down Broxa, but in the middle of 3, in comes the Galio. Optimus out to safety.
Oh, no!
No! Rift Herald taking it away. Has Fnatic's back in that one. Now the Realm War forward. Archie going to look for the taunt, only going to connect on 2. He should be taken down as well. Reckless going to grab that kill.
Did we say coordinated? Just kidding. Optimus is going to go try and take on all challengers there. And he does not quite get out of swipe range from Shelly. Meanwhile, though, every time there is a fight on the other side, they're pushing turrets.
Here comes the paranoia, in comes Levi, and down goes Soaz.
Even No Way surviving. So right now they're playing the turret game. They're sieging. That was a very long Rift Herald to try and secure just because of Optimus throwing himself at them. You've got the Galio ultimate, the Nocturne combo, yes, but unfortunately the teleports weren't there and they were just trying to react.
Thinking about it, though, just theoretically, a Rift Herald could get you many gains in a game where it's so spread out and so many fights are breaking out across the map. This may be one of those times where we see multiple turrets taken by a Rift Herald. It's definitely going to be up to Fnatic to be able to try and use that effectively. Yeah. But Levi here is probably the most effective guy in the entire game so far.
Now looking for the 1v1 with Caps, does manage to spell shield. Fear comes out, red buff is ticking. Caps running for his life, but Levi should be able to burn this down. Duskbringer burning him out.
He does so much damage. That's the blue buff now for Levi. I thought he was out of mana, but he gets that back.
And now he's 2 levels above anyone in the entire game. Double buff Nocturne, ready to roll.
Guys, when we talk about teams playing around their carries, this is not exactly what I had in mind. Level 6 at 5 minutes, level 11 at 15. Levi is playing it out of his mind, and his team are setting him up for success.
You can tell it's been a pre-planned strategy as well. They work very hard around Levi. All of this preparation leading into Worlds, and this is one of their many strategies.
Has to be careful here. Is locked up. Spell Shield's not going to save him from that. As soon as we praise him, he goes right back down.
They are pushing both lanes on either side of him, but Fnatic are able to collapse. They take down the extremely high-level jungler. And let me remind you, there are catch-up mechanics in this game. He is the highest level there, so they did get some bonuses as far as shutting down as well.
So much of this
There's
game.
that Herald.
Not quite what we expected, but we'll see. We talked about Herald potentially being a giant boon for Fnatic, a huge advantage. This looks like it could be its first turret taken down, but can they get any more off the back of this?
Looks like they're going to play this one calmly. Everyone was there from the Gigabyte Marines. The jungler just comes back up as well, so Levi would be around if they committed to a second structure. I like the reservations from Fnatic this time. Take the free turret, take every free turret you can, even topside, because Fnatic are all recalling, no one knows that from the Marines. Caps is able to freely push.
Yep, they are able to get, looks like it'll be 2 here if he's able to finish. But, however, Gigabyte Marines are pushing mid and bottom right now. Plus, there is a Mountain Drake available, which they could retreat to. So, looks like they're still going to get 1-for-1. If Soaz doesn't get them all.
Soaz is trying to start the fight off. Paranoia is available and used immediately, but it looks like Archie is the one who's going to get taken down. Winter War not going to have an effect. It will be the trade back as Levi just rips through Soaz.
A big trade in the end, but it was just the trade. The turret still went down, but that was a reactionary turret. Gigabyte Marines still on the back foot.
Yeah, funniest thing here, pings go down from both teams. They both want to push. Gigabyte Marines ping bottom there to try and force on that inhibitor turret, and Fnatic had previously pinged in the mid lane, but they're trying to answer now.
Realm War, Optimus trying to slow down with the Force Pulse. Brock moving forward, level 10 has the red buff, slowed up. Fnatic can't push any more forward though. Optimus, easy escape.
The Gigabyte Marines are just keeping up pressure in at least 2 lanes plus jungle at almost all times right now. So even when Fnatic collapse and they get some extra kills and they win a skirmish, they aren't able to pressure afterwards.
And I'm really enjoying this strategy for them because you can see it was designed from level 1. The fact that they have a Kassadin right now as well, they can go towards the Lichbane, eventually can split push, gives them that something extra. And when all of these turrets are already gone, if they get any edge on the map, suddenly the inhibitor dies, everything continues. We get to watch once again as Soaz goes in.
So he's able to get off the ultimate here, snares multiple people, nice knockback as well. But with this Nocturne ultimate, they're able to answer back anyway. Optimus on that catch that you talked about, providing a bunch of extra burst damage in combination with Nocturne to take down the front line.
And we can see in the meantime, in live time, it will be the Mountain Drake going down, a boon for Gigabyte Marines as they want to try to force that Baron. And we're getting close to that time. It's still only 18 minutes. But you have to feel like that is the objective that could very well break open this game. But at this rate, who really knows? We could see a 5v5 at any moment.
I mean, interestingly, the map is already open. So for what it's worth, the next big fight around the objective, if it's the Baron, which you would expect it to be if you're Fnatic, is going to be a hotly contested area. However, the Gigabyte Marines, because they're focusing so hard on pushing, you're seeing that strategy in play. They may not want to go down there. They may force Fnatic to go to it.
And another benefit of this constant pushing from the Gigabyte Marines and this pressure they're putting out, they're taking over the ward game as they do it. They control so much territory on this map that it becomes difficult for Fnatic to really reset up, some safe territory for themselves. Currently, those 2 control wards Fnatic have up on their blue quadrant of the jungle are lighting up the pathway towards the Baron. They desperately need to keep this quadrant of the jungle in their control so they don't lose out. It could even, with the pace of this game, you're talking about the 20-minute Baron coming up, they could go down at 21-30.
And once again, we talk about fear, we talk about the knock from the Cassid, and potential at any moment for someone to come out of a bush and one-shot you in this game. The dust played,
there's the bush.
Now the paranoia!
Oh, the Zhonya's.
Zhonya's play, though, paired perfectly. Cap's gonna make out to safety.
Yeah, the Paladin play there. Bubble Hearth there gets Caps out. And on the bottom side, Tristana going to do a similar jump away. But Jesus goes in.
Out comes the Galio ultimate. We'll see how many knockups he's going to get. Just one. Now trying to find the taunt onto Reckless, but a nice sidestep comes through. Neven wants to make it a safety. RT pushing forward. Optimus is in the middle of the team. That's a fed Cassid, and now Reckless is in trouble. No way, has no fear. And Jesus is going to get dropped down. He's looking for a zone. He flashes forward. That's going to be the shutdown and the triple.
3 big kills, and they are still pushing on the bottom side of the rift.
And all of them onto No Way there. The 5-kill Tristana taking down the inhibitor turret.
TP coming in. Gigabyte Marines doubling down. They got an advantage, and they want to push it home. Fnatic on the back foot. Vietnam coming up big on the world stage.
And that's incredible as a reactionary play. Once again, the Gigabyte Marines through vision control, through their ability to rotate and coordinate as a team, you're starting to see that come to fruition.
And they just have no hesitation when collapsing. Even if a member goes down in these fights, they still go for the re-engage. They still say, we're going to get kills back afterwards. This is why, again, we highlight so often with these guys, mobility from Champion Select. Here comes the Galio ultimate. Here comes from mid lane. Cassid is teleporting in as well. They immediately turn this around. Even though Lulu, with no flash, was caught out, they're able to turn it around so quickly and work through the tank line.
Yeah, Soaz, not really a big threat with his just Spirit Visage against an AD carry, even though both top laners are behind. Galio's utility with damage reduction and being able to provide it comes up tops.
Yeah, No Way here. We have to highlight this guy for the Gigabyte Marines. When he was added to the team, they absolutely dominated the entire region so well. And he was highly sought after for quite a long time by the team. See what they can do now, though, because Optimus is on a control ward in mid lane, and it looks like he's got some fancy ideas. Nocturne ultimate is available, remember.
Have to be safe. Karma can maybe save one person, but even the shielding might not be enough in the face of so many strong members with so much mobility.
All right, so now we have to take a look at this from Fnatic's point of view, because this is the difficult part, right? We're seeing the whole map, and we're seeing Gigabyte Marines kind of overwhelm everything, but it's Fnatic that need to come up with a stabilizing game plan.
Yeah.
They have the more stable team comp that they can try and set up.
And let's be clear here, when we talk about Fnatic, if anyone was going to be able to take down an unconventional, hyper-aggressive style, we thought it would be the European representative who played this style for the first half of their split, who found success in this style, but now they look lost in the face of Gigabyte Marines. We have to wonder, where is this play going to come from? Who is going to step up on Fnatic?
And that's the thing, they've revolutionized what that style looks like. Fnatic can never be prepared for how they played out the 1 to 6 stage for a Nocturne, and how early he ticks over to 6 in ganks. That's a very hard thing to get used to, but that's continued through the rest of the game. And you're right, ultimately, Fnatic, they need to try and find a way to slow this game down, but to slow it down against the team that's constantly pressuring you is really hard.
Gonna have to be now. Make or break on this Baron. 4,000 health.
Pushing in, dropping lower, paranoia, blocking vision into the pit. They can't even see it happen. The Icon gonna let him know it came through, but Caps is just gonna get burned through immediately. Making the Paladin play to make it out once again. Slow as leaping forward. Reckless still untouched on the backside, but the tanks are already dropping. Fnatic is getting routed. The Baron dropping in the favor of Gigabyte Marines. They'll take a Cat Pajama Man anyway on the back half.
And now they've got minions in bottom side as well that are already on the Nexus turrets. Optimus is chasing Fnatic and trying to delay their backs as they actually circle around, and they were looking to cut off minions maybe, but not going to be the case.
Optimus might be cleaned up, but the rest of the team is moving into the base. Galio comes down. Maybe he can stop the backs as well. No Way is pushing to the base.
He's looking to end the game right now. If he can stop the teleports, it's over.
TP goes through. Doesn't look like it's going to get canceled. It's Caps versus the world at the moment. The rest of Fnatic caught in a fight. No Way versus Caps. One battle to decide the game, but Broxa is here for backup, and Gigabyte Marines are going to have to bare their teeth and wait for a few more minutes.
Meanwhile, if you look at the mini-map there, they were still... Oh, never mind!
No fear! Moving in, Caps! Ooh, gets taken back. Maokai pushing in. Broxa going to get tucked down as well. There's not enough damage to kill the Tristana. No Way is legendary! But still, Gigabyte Marines, they're not quite strong enough to end the game. SOAS, though, just feeding fuel into the fire. Reckless is here with the double drops. That's the triple. He's looking for the quadra. Reckless gets cut down as well. Penta could come out. No Way is hungry for it. The team is there. That's it.
It's a legendary 11-kill Tristana, and Optimus takes the Penta. Gigabyte Marines are going to take the game.
Gigabyte Marines taking down the third seed from Europe. A first blow for Vietnam.
What a performance from the Gigabyte Marines. From the beginning of the game to the very end, they had a plan, and they executed on that strategy. Fnatic left not knowing what to do.
Woo. Yeah, you said it, Kobe. Woo. An insanely high-paced game, and it's been breakneck pace in our first three. This one just topping up. Gigabyte Marines say, hey, you think you can play a fast game? We can do one better. And still, I think we're never prepared for what Gigabyte Marines bring to the table. As much as we prep, as much as we talk about imagination, they always seem to think of something that just feels impossible to anybody else.
They make breaking the meta look so good.
And almost so easy at the same time. There were some hiccups, but ultimately the strategy was sound. And we came into this game and we were like, is it an upset if the Gigabyte Marines can beat Fnatic? I'm not sure it is an upset in the end, and it might be an upset that Fnatic lost.
I can guarantee European fans are upset, Rusty. That's about all I can guarantee at this stage. But for the GPL, for Vietnam, a fantastic first victory and well-earned. Insane playmaking, and even after the crazy stage